Well, thanks, Ricky, for the video, which brought back so many pleasant memories, and for your very kind words and thoughts. Thanks, Mark, for the NASCAR Hall of Fame induction and the great partnership and the friendship that we've had for so many years. I'd like to begin by thanking everyone in the NASCAR Hall of Fame selection process for my nomination and induction, and special thanks to the race fans who voted for my induction online. Congratulations, Roger, Jeff, and the families of Alan and Davey for your most worthy inductions as well. When I announced my plan to start a NASCAR Cup team in January 1988, few, if any, knowledgeable fans and even fewer Cup team personnel would have given me favorable odds for surviving more than 3 decades as I stand before you tonight. Most important of the enabling factors was the encouragement of the Ford family and the open-ended support of the Ford Motor Company, who have both been behind my initiatives for 53 years and counting. Were it not for Mark's ambitions and commitment and the timely advice and support of Banjo Matthews, Bobby Allison, Glennon Leonard Wood, and Counselor John Cassidy, I would have not survived long enough to even earn a footnote in the chronicles of the sport. Mark's a really special guy, one so determined to succeed in NASCAR's racing at the highest level that he did not even ask what I could afford to pay for his services when we first discussed the team's other needs and my ability to provide for them. Once headed down a viable path with Mark, we welcomed aboard the first wave of managers and key personnel needed to build the team and make the number 6 Ford Thunderbird NASCAR Cup race car a reality. The effort was led by Steve Meal and Robin Pemberton, who both arrived at the same time for their separately scheduled interviews. The affair quickly turned into an unexpected evaluation of my motives and ability to pay for it all. With budgeting considerations in mind, they initially recruited only a dozen ambitious young men and women to brave us off into the unknown. In our, or should I say their 3rd year together, they tested before every first race at every track and finished 2nd in the Cup Championship. At a gathering last year where Steve and Robin were able to speak freely, I learned that I had ambushed the pair at a 1988 pre-Daytona 500 press conference when I announced without warning that I'd signed them up for running the entire 36-race schedule rather than the limited schedule that I'd proposed at the time of their interview. Unexpected sponsorship had become available, and I had not recognized the problem. What the hell? They had 2.5 completed race cars by Daytona time. All right, the primary Rockingham car was one of those taken to Daytona as a backup, and it was ultimately used in the 500 race due to the crash of the primary in the qualifying race, which left only 1/2 completed race car in the shop for Rockingham 7 days later. So maybe there was a problem. Sorry, guys, that would not be the last of my leadership faux pas you would be stressed to overcome in the years ahead. For the critical years following the 1988 inaugural, on the backs of these giants and the hapless ones that followed, I satisfied my insatiable desire for fielding multiple entries in all 3 of NASCAR's professional series, hitting a high point of 14 per event in 2006. Most notable among the ever-expanding group of additional leaders and managers who supported these ambitious efforts, in no particular order, are Jeff Smith, Jimmy Finnig, Buddy Parrott, Max Jones, Harry McMillan, Chris Andrews, Nick Ola, Robbie Reiser, and the current leadership team consisting of Kevin Kidd, Tommy Wheeler, Steve Newmark, and Evan Lyle. In 2003, a most important and timely partnership between Roush Racing and longtime rivals Robert and Doug Yates was formed. The partnership gave birth to today's Roush Yates engines. In the year that followed the agreement, our Ford engines qualified 1st and 2nd at the Daytona 500 and went on to make possible a championship for Kurt Busch and Jimmy Finnig. In 2007, a second critical partnership was formed with Boston Red Sox owner John Henry. Roush Fenway Racing was on its way. I could not have asked for a more patient, supportive, and like-minded partner than John. Over the past 31 years, our Ford cars and F-150 trucks have been sponsored by more than 100 of the best partners in all of motorsports. Accordingly, their support has provided the opportunity for Roush Fenway to participate in some of the most successful and innovative marketing programs in NASCAR history. In the same time frame, our cars and trucks were driven more than 1 million miles in competition by more than 50 of the greatest drivers in the world. Mark led this group, winning a total of 81 NASCAR races, finished second, a record-setting 4 times in the 19 Cup Championship runs. My greatest drivers in the world list also includes Matt Kenseth and Kurt Busch, who won consecutive Cup Championships in 2003 and 2004, as well as Jeff Burton, Greg Biffle, Carl Edwards, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and Chris Buescher, who added a total of 6 more NASCAR championships. Down through the decades, I have received championship support from my family, including my mother, Georgetta, who was in fact the team owner of record for Kurt and Jimmy Finnig's Cup Championship. My father, Charles, has provided the inspiration, work ethic example, and entrepreneurial spirit that has charted a course for me throughout my entire life. My loving wife, Pauline, of 46 years, has supported all of my endeavors like a true champion, while simultaneously maintaining the bustling household for our daughters, Susan and Patricia, our son, young Jack, and more recently for our 5 grandchildren. My younger brother, Frank, has been at my side for many of our on-track successes and at my bedside, nursing me back to health after my 2 airplane crashes and a forgotten drag racing crash that could have ended it all before it began more than 40 years ago. And there's no end in sight for my family's involvement in racing, with Susan and her family competing in drag racing, and Jack Jr. and his family deeply involved in road and go-kart racing as I speak. They are likely to be engaged in motor racing for many decades to come. Thanks again for the great honor you have brought to me and my family by your 2019 NASCAR Hall of Fame induction. Thank you.